Hey, welcome back to No Recipe Required. I'm Dave and I hope you're doing well today. So I know that we're always looking for chicken recipes. I know we're always looking for pasta recipes. So what are we going to do today? We're going to combine the two. I'm actually going to make a sauteed chicken, well, kind of like a grilled chicken or so, although I'm not going to grill it. And then I'm going to make some pesto pasta. I'm going to use a long pasta. Essentially just combine the two, have a chicken pesto pasta. Let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, let's go ahead and start making our basil pesto. Here I've got basil leaves, obviously. This is maybe 2 cups, loosely packed, and I'm just going to drop that into some boiling salted water to go ahead and blanch it. This will probably only take 30 seconds or so to cook those leaves, drive some of the moisture out of the cells. What we're going to do once it's finished is just throw it in a little colander here, and then I'll immediately run cold water over it to stop the cooking process and to set that green color so that we have that nice, beautiful, fresh looking green. Okay, so I've got the basil here. I took it obviously out of the hot water, ran it under cold water to where it was cool to the touch, and then just threw it on paper towel to drain a little bit. I'm not particularly concerned about getting every drop of water out, because what we're going to do is blend it up. Just toss it obviously in a blender here, and that water is going to help it help make sure there's enough liquid in here to actually blend it all together and make it all homogeneous. We may actually have to add a little bit of water. To my basil, I've got 2 cloves of garlic that I'm going to add. I've got maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, just to give a little bit of bite, a little bit of heat. And then in all pestos, there's some nuts. Traditionally, the nut is pine nuts. I've got almonds. I don't have pine nuts, so I'm going to use almonds. Don't let one ingredient really slow you down or stop you. You can easily substitute and swap around. This is maybe what I'd call a small handful for 2 cups. Maybe I'll add a couple more, and then we're going to go ahead and drop that on our blender. I can tell already we're going to need a little bit of water in there. So I'm going to add that, and then we're going to go ahead and blend this until it's smooth. I'll grab a spatula and kind of scrape down the sides as I go to make sure nothing's getting stuck. And if you need to add a little bit more water, go ahead and do that. It's more important to get it blended. You just don't want to add, you don't want a soup. You don't want to cover it with water. You won't need that much. So I've got mine probably halfway pureed, and I just spotted a little bit of lemon zest that I forgot to add. I like to throw that into mine. And I'm also going to hit it with just a touch of olive oil to supplement the water in there. I felt like the water was getting a little too much, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw a little olive oil in there, totally fine. And we'll just keep going until we've got a nice, smooth, consistent pesto. Once we've got the pesto fully blended and nicely smoothed down, you can go ahead and empty it into a little holding dish, which is what I've got here. Now keep in mind, we haven't added any salt or pepper, any seasoning to this. We also haven't added any cheese, which is what we're going to do. This is really just the basil and garlic. So as we cook our pasta and blend it all together, we're going to have to make sure we add those seasonings, add the cheese, add the olive oil, make sure it all tastes great. You can definitely do this piece a couple hours ahead of time and put it all together at the end. Okay, let's go ahead and prepare our chicken breasts for our chicken breast and pesto pasta. I'm going to season it fairly simply here. Because pesto, is such a strong, beautiful flavor, I'm going to go pretty easy on the seasoning for the chicken. All I'm going to do is, I've got a little bit of olive oil there. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt and some fresh ground black pepper on both sides. And then I'm also going to do a little touch of paprika, just because I like the flavor. I have it available. If you could just go salt and pepper. You could also go anything like chili powder, cumin, even a little cayenne pepper. I think all would taste absolutely great. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to let these seasonings just soak in for about 10 minutes or so. Then we're going to pan fry these chicken breasts. Let's go ahead and sear our chicken breasts for our pasta. Now you can tell here I've got a super hot smoking pan, And to sear a chicken breast, that's what you need. So I'm going to go ahead and take mine. I'm going to start close to me, lay it down. You want to hear that big intense sizzle. That means the pan's hot enough. And lay that chicken away from you. Let me grab my other chicken breast and do the same thing. Lay it away from me. You want to make sure your pan is not overcrowded. And I'm just going to let that chicken sit and sear on one side for probably, these are pretty thin, for probably just 2 minutes or so. Then we'll flip it over, finish it on the other side for about a minute, and we'll be done. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes, and I can see my chicken has contracted and gotten smaller. That's what I'm looking for. And then right around the edges, you can also tell that you can see it starting to turn white. So I know it's done, or at least seared on that one side. I flip it over, let it cook on the other side. Now it's probably 3/4 of the way cooked right now, so you don't really need to go for the same amount of time on this side. You're just looking to get the rest of the chicken cooked through. We'll let it go for probably 45 seconds to a minute on this side, and then shut it off, let it rest. Okay, so our chicken for our pesto pasta is done. I like to get this chicken for this dish kind of nicely seared, because again, it's a good contrast to the soft texture of the pasta, and the bit of crunchy outside of the sear makes it absolutely perfect. Beautiful thing is you can do this an hour, 2 hours, even probably 3 or 4 hours ahead of time before you're ready to put it all together. So your choice of pasta is up to you, obviously. Pesto goes great with all kinds of different pasta. What I'm using here is a kind of a thick spaghetti. I think it's maybe bucatini. Spaghetti obviously is great, linguine is great, but even the short pastas work awesome in this dish as well. Doesn't really matter what you use. I just dropped mine into some boiling water. I actually just reserved the water that I used to blanch our basil in. Exact same water. Why throw it out? Just go ahead, use it again. I'm going to go ahead and cook this until it is the perfect al dente, and then we'll go ahead, put the chicken, the pasta, cheese, the oil all together. So here I've got the chicken for our chicken and pesto pasta. I cooked it about 30 minutes ago. It's cool to the touch, or it's room temperature, but that is totally fine. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it up into little bite-sized pieces, because that's the way I like it. I don't necessarily want to cut it at the table in a pasta bowl and all that kind of stuff. It would be perfectly fine though to serve a little chicken breast whole like that on the side, and let your guests go ahead and cut it up themselves. Once I get this diced up, we'll just we'll reheat it in the pasta itself, and then we'll be good to go. Okay guys, so it's time to put it all together. I've got my pasta here. I just took off the heat and drained off. I'm going to add a good amount of olive oil. You want to use the best olive oil that you got. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a good, probably 2-3 tablespoons of our pesto. Remember, we didn't season it before, so I'm going to add some salt and some pepper. I'm also going to add a good handful of Parmesan cheese. And then I also saved a little bit of the pasta water that I was cooking it in. A little squeeze of lemon. And then we'll go ahead and toss, see how we're doing in terms of consistency. You want kind of everything to come together. Should be a little bit of moisture in there from the water and from the pasta to make a bit of a sauce. I'm going to throw my chicken in. You can put the chicken on top if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine mixed in. Put in the rest of my Parmesan cheese there, because it looks like this can take it. And there you go for our chicken pesto pasta. You want to make sure you give it a taste. Make sure the season is right. I usually use, because we mix this off the heat, I usually use a hot plate. So I had this bowl in the oven at like 200 degrees for 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes before we serve. You want to stack that pasta nice and high. And there you go. Chicken and pesto pasta. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.